What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers today had quite an interesting game. They take care of business 114 to 105 against the Toronto Raptors, but this was kind of a tale of two different Blazers teams. The Blazers started off with their hottest first quarter of the entire season with a 25-4 run that they put together against the Toronto Raptors. They ended up leading by, I think, 32 points at one point, and then the Raptors cut it to 4 late behind some clutch play from Fred VanVleet, but Anfernee Simmons hits a couple daggers in the final minutes to take care of business for the Portland Trail Blazers as they stave off the Raptor comeback. What's going on? Hope you guys are having a good day. This will be a shorter stream today. We are going to skip the Twitter space and keep this to about an hour and a half. We'll probably be done around 7 p.m. Pacific time, but we'll be back with the space for the next stream on, Tuesday. Tuesday is when the Blazers play next. Eric, how's it going, man?
Going good. How about yourself, man?
It's going good. It's going good. Had a good day yesterday. By the way, your mic is a little bit quiet. I don't know what's up with that. But had a good day yesterday, and Niners get the win. So it was enjoyable to see that. We got Zach with a member message, the 20-month member. I think Zach's our longest tenured member. He says, pulled a Rams and almost blew a huge lead in the fourth. Yes, that was very Rams-esque by the Portland Trail Blazers today. But they still pulled things out. We'll go into kind of what fell apart, what got the Blazers out to that run, and we'll recap the game. And then we'll talk a little bit about maybe trades and stuff if we have time for that. Eric, what are your thoughts on this game? Maybe let's just start off with the hot run the Blazers put together, an impressive first quarter.
Yeah, I felt like this was just this season that was probably by far their most complete half of the season, both in terms of offense and defense. Everyone was hitting threes. Felt like the ball was moving really well. I felt defensively, even though they missed a lot of open shots, I felt like we played really well on that end as well. We gave up 15 the first quarter, and then 19 the second quarter. Mm-hmm. And that just goes right in line with the 4 prior games. I think we were 4th in defensive rating in the last 4 games, so this will be right up there. Should still be in the top 5 over the last 5 games, all on the road against some decent teams. So very impressive there. But then you give up 71 in the second half and kind of ruined that a little bit. But still to hold this Raptors team to 105 and was pretty good. But yeah, just really fun basketball to watch. Everyone was contributing. You know, a guy like CJ Ellaby comes in the game and has a great run. Actually plays, I think he stayed in the game maybe the whole second quarter. Just really fun to watch them play and move the ball.
Yeah, I mean, before I get to the second half, I will say this about that. Turnovers were really what kind of led to a lot of those Raptors points in the second half. I don't think it was necessarily some breakdowns. You know, Toronto started hitting some tough shots, and they missed a lot of wide open shots in the first half. So obviously, you know, shooting variation came into play for Toronto, but Portland got sloppy in the second half with the ball. The Raptors pressed. But the first half was... This team has figured out how to play defense on the road. I don't think there's any question about that. They end up finishing this road trip at 4-2. They beat the Boston Celtics, they beat the Toronto Raptors, they beat the Washington Wizards, they were without Bradley Beal, but still, they beat the Washington Wizards and they beat the Orlando Magic, you know, a bottom feeder there, but 4-2 on this road trip is better than I was expecting, and this is kind of
better than anyone expected.
Yeah, and this was the stretch where it's like, well, this is going to determine maybe our direction around the trade deadline, and the Blazers are now 20-26, they've won 6 out of their last 8 games, so it all comes down to their defense, because they still have enough scoring talent without Damian Lillard to be able to win basketball games. There's no question about that. You got Ant playing great. CJ's come back, and he's played pretty well since returning, and he had a phenomenal game today. Nassir Little had an efficient 19-point outing as well. So you still have enough scoring. It just comes down to, can they stop anybody? And they hadn't been for the majority of the season. But we had seen flashes of this team playing good defensively. They had a great defensive game at the start of the year against Phoenix. and they got a blowout win against them. They had a great defensive game against Memphis in October, got a blowout win against them. And at home, they were a good defensive team to start the year, and then they go on the road and just play with no energy, they weren't focused, would make a bunch of silly mistakes, and they'd be horrible, right? And I kind of gave up on this roster, but it wasn't because they weren't like physically capable of playing better defense than they had been. I was questioning okay, these guys can't seem to be able to get mentally engaged enough, consistently enough to be a good defensive team. It was more of a mental thing for this team. And now all of a sudden, they're playing good defense, and it hasn't come with the personnel change. They're starting an undersized backcourt with Anfernee Simmons and CJ McCollum. Nas has been starting a lot this season. He's starting. You got Rocco and Nurkic, the starting front court at the start of the season. And all of a sudden, these guys are playing good defense. You got some guys that were in the rotation to start the year with Ellaby and Watford and Dennis Smith Jr. playing. And this is a good defensive team all of a sudden. Like the last 8 games, they've probably been an above average NBA team. I'm sure there's a stat out there somewhere, but since the new year, this team has been playing good defense without going out and acquiring a Ben Simmons or somebody like that. So that's why they're winning games, and that's why they can still be potentially a good team without Dame, is because they have the offense. They just have to play defense. And I'd given up on that, and I still don't know what to think about this team because I feel like after this run, they're going to start facing maybe some tougher teams, a little bit tougher teams, and they're going to fall apart defensively, and they fell apart in the second half. So I'm still not bought in on the consistency with this team. It's just like, wow, they've been playing really good basketball.
Yeah. Completely disagree with Sean in chat, says these wins are a false narrative. I don't agree with that. We're playing good ball. He's saying we always go on a run right before the All-Star break. But, we're not even close enough to the All-Star break for that to matter. Like, this is happening over the course of January. Usually, you're talking about when we beat the Golden State Warriors, like the game before the All-Star break, and you can tell they checked out, were already on vacation for a week or already making their plans for the All-Star game, stuff like that. That's not back in January. And this is not because of Dame carrying us, like Bureau says, either. So, I don't agree with that at all.
We do go on runs throughout seasons, right? And I don't know. Like, this team has never truly been consistent defensively the past couple of years.
You know what it is, though? I feel like something changed in this team chemistry-wise. They seem so much closer and, playing for one another and, they're communicating better. I feel like people are, the bench is more excited lately. It's cool to see that. And then, you see, Trendon get a charge, and he looks to the bench and is all excited, pumped up. And you see McLemore blow a coverage, and he looks right at Chauncey, is like, that's my bad, my fault. He knew exactly what he did wrong and stuff. And I feel like they're so much more cohesive. And at the beginning of the year, it was we're questioning that every game. Do these guys even care or whatever? But it's night and day difference. These guys care, and it's as simple as that sometimes, where if you're playing with your teammates and you're all in sync and you're all having fun and you're sharing the ball, we had 31 assists tonight, and everyone contributes like they did in the first half of this game. It's just so much different. And people are going to say, oh, well, it's because they don't have Dame or whatever, but I don't think Dame is the problem, but I'm starting to think that maybe Norm was. In terms of the energy and the cohesion and stuff like that.
It was so bad that I can't just blame one or two people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying it's all on. Because obviously we talked about Nurkic struggling. We talked about Rocco struggling, all that kind of stuff.
But when you talk about chemistry in the locker room, if you got Dame, and I don't think it's Dame's fault, but he was injured. I don't blame Dame at all. He was injured. You know what I mean? And he was not able to give 100% defensively. I don't think there's any question about that. And he's been dealing with this injury for years. I'm curious to see if he's like an above average defender, if he's fully healthy, because he hasn't been fully healthy since Aldridge left, basically. He confirmed that in the interview he had. So, it's a situation where you can't blame Dame, in my opinion, because he wasn't healthy, but because he wasn't healthy, he wasn't able to give what he needed to give defensively, right? And then he was missing a lot of shots. And then if you have Norm out there playing lazy as well, if you got two guys like that playing the majority of minutes, and then CJ starts to slack off, CJ played really good defense the first, 7 games of the year. I thought he was really, really solid on that end. And then he has a baby coming, so I'm sure that affected him mentally, and he starts slacking on defense. And when that's your point guard, small forward, and shooting guard, and they're all lackadaisical defensively, that's going to affect the rest of the team. That's going to affect everything else, And I've said this before. It's like it takes one guy having a breakdown defensively to ruin a good defensive possession from 4 other players, right? And we saw an example of that numerous times. And when you have 3 guys in the starting lineup that aren't getting it done defensively, and then you got Rocco chasing steals and he was being lazier, and we were wondering why that was. It was a collective problem. And now that Dame's had his surgery and CJ's back and he looks engaged and he's been playing solid defensively, in my opinion, since returning from his injury and having his kid. Norm isn't in the lineup right now. So you got Nas in there. All of a sudden, you eliminated 2 of the defensive problems, right? And then the third guy in CJ has been better. And all of a sudden, we're playing good defense. And it's that simple. Now, the problem I have with that is guys on this team need to put forward effort regardless. They shouldn't be affected too much by the effort that other players give. They need to hold themselves to a higher standard. And I was disappointed in guys like Robert Covington earlier this season. I was disappointed in Cody Zeller at times earlier this season. There was some plays with Nurkic. I don't think he was necessarily a problem, but he's been more engaged lately, and I don't think that's a surprise, and maybe that's because he's getting more touches, or maybe that's just because guys are playing harder defensively, I don't know. But those guys needed to hold themselves to a little bit higher standard than they did, but it's like now all of a sudden it is a completely different feeling team, and it's fun to watch, and I'm not pulling my hair out anymore. But it's like, what is the direction after that? And we've had this conversation on the last post-game show, and we'll have to have it again. But yeah, it's a completely different team, and I feel like Dame and Norm not being in the lineup has definitely changed that. And I hope that when Dame comes back next year, he can, contribute to a better defensive culture, a better defensive team, because he's fully healthy.
Yeah, it's much like when Nurk came back from injury last year and he's like, I noticed this, this, and this. Hopefully Dame's noticing the same things, like, hey, look at how they're playing. I could come in and be a part of this. And we haven't mentioned him yet, but, you kind of did, but CJ McCollum, man, only takes 12 shots tonight. 8 of 12. This guy has come in and tried to fit in and be part of the solution instead of coming back and being a problem. And you have to give him credit, at least so far, for being that way. Because there's no way if he was 8 of 12 at previous times in his career that he would only take 12 shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when he's sharing the court with a Covington and Nassir Little and Anfernee Simmons, you know what I mean? He would have been getting them up. Yeah, that's why I hated all the crap that CJ was getting last game. Because he's tried to fit in. He's played within the flow of the offense, and the game plan last game was to isolate switches, because we did it with Ant, we did it with CJ, and it was pretty obvious that was the game plan, and people were just sitting there bashing CJ. It's the first game where he didn't shoot too well, and I don't even think he took any bad shots last game for the most part, but because he missed them, he isolated and missed that shot, so he's back to being selfish. Screw CJ. All that type of, all those narratives bubbling up to the surface again. That's why it actually, to be honest, pissed me off last stream, hopping in here and just seeing all that type of stuff. And then he comes out tonight shooting 60% from 3, 67% from the field. He has 6 assists, only 12 shots. He has 10 boards. He was getting after it on the boards. He was playing good defense. He played a good defensive game today, in my opinion. What more could you ask for CJ? That's about all you could ask for from CJ. That's a phenomenal game. And that's him fitting in to playing a better brand of basketball. So if he goes selfish ISO mode and shoots a bunch of dumb shots and jacks up a bunch of crap next game, sure, criticize him. But it seems like people will criticize him anytime he misses shots, no matter how he's playing the game, no matter what he's trying to do, no matter if he's just waiting for his opportunity and shooting good shots and just missing them. It's always going to be a bunch of ridiculous criticism of him when he's not actually doing the things that people say he is. So that frustrates me. So criticize him if he plays a bad style of basketball, but don't just criticize him because he has a bad shooting night. It doesn't make sense to. Tonight, great shooting night. Only 12 shots in 38 minutes of play, 6 assists. Fit in perfectly.
Yep. The only real... I mean, you talked about the sloppy play, but, man, the starting lineup in particular had 21 turnovers, I think. Mm-hmm. Only one from our bench. That's just something we got to clean up. Hopefully, now that we saw... I mean, it's not often that a team... double team presses.
Yeah.
For a full game.
I want to wait until we get to the team stats to kind of look at those numbers because I want to compare like assists and all that type of stuff. I'll get to that in a second. We can start that conversation. Yeah. Gray Hughes investigates $10 dono. Appreciate you, Gray. He says, I think this team of the energy we're seeing would easily be over 500 for the season so far. People need to touch the ball and get shots to build confidence and a sense of belonging, not ISO ball. Yeah. I mean, defensively, if we played like this, we would be over 500. It's like if we're 6 games below 500, so we win 3 games that we lost, and we're at 500. And we played some teams missing some key guys. We have some bad losses so far this season. I mean, we lost twice to the Sacramento Kings, and we lost to Philadelphia, missing a bunch of players. We have some real bad losses. So just as far as the defense goes, if we just brought this effort, we'd be over 500. And as far as offensively, I mean, the offense has been better lately. I agree with that. And it just seems to have more flow, more rhythm, and it's easier for guys to kind of sub in and feel like they're a part of the offense. I do agree with that as well.
Well, part of the thing is, outside of Dame being injured, there's no way we can't, like, stack up talent-wise with, like, a Memphis, what they're doing this season, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that should be us, in my opinion. Or, like, what Phoenix did last year. We always talked about that. But, like, yeah, we weathered the storm for the most part, and then we had that Dame miss, like, he sat out those 10 days at, like, the worst possible time when we were just getting through that really tough stretch, and then we had all those home games and stuff like that, and then we lost a bunch of games that we probably wouldn't have lost had we been healthy and all that stuff. And that's not an excuse or anything, but it's just frustrating to see us fall so far behind when we could have been playing like this, and we could have just sat Dame earlier in the season maybe and given the reins to Ant a little sooner. Had CJ was out for a while, we could have done some more things there. Could have played Trendon a little more at times because he's absolutely an NBA rotation player. And remember at the first time Trendon got actual minutes, and we were saying that same thing, like he has skills that are useful in the NBA, and we got comments in chat saying like, you should never talk about an undrafted rookie like contributing. Like, there's no chance he'll ever help the team.
People told us to stop talking about him. Yeah. It
doesn't matter.
Yeah, the dude's been a good defender as a rookie. He's been impressive defensively. We can talk about him in the player card, but defensively, he's been it. Has to start shooting threes and shooting them well. That'll open up his entire dribble drive game, in my opinion. Because right now he's just not respected as a 3-point shooter. He can pass, he can handle the ball, he's kind of crafty around the rim. He has to finish a little bit better than he has been. What'll open that all up is figuring out how to shoot threes. So once he gets, and I think he will because his form's fine, once he gets a consistent 3-point jump shot, he'll be able to be a pretty solid offensive player, and he'll be a good defender. Role-wise, I could see him being a Larry Nance Jr. type of player in the future, where he's a good defensive player, can pass for others, knock down an occasional three, and knows how to cut. right? That's Larry Nance Jr. Watford's a little bit smaller, so he's a little bit more of a 4 than a 5 compared to Larry Nance Jr., but still, that's kind of the mold I see him progressing in, and that's a really beneficial player to have on the roster. I mean, Larry Nance Jr. is worth a first-round pick, right? And this is a dude that was undrafted. So if you can get an undrafted player and maybe he doesn't stay on the team long-term, but he turns into a guy that's like worth a first-round pick, and you didn't have to give up anything to get him, you just signed him because he wasn't even drafted, that's how you get better as a team when you don't have a lot of assets. You have to manufacture assets, and Trendon Watford is absolutely an asset.
The other thing it does is you could basically sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal for the minimum right now, and it makes Larry Nance maybe expendable at the trade deadline when that probably wasn't even a plan a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and I'm not really on board with trading Nance out unless it's a really solid deal. You know, that's one of the guys that I'm not really looking to sell right now. I mean, I don't even know what I want out of this trade deadline. There is one name I want, but I don't even want to talk about him on this stream, Eric, because, and some people will know, but I'm definitely, this is a video that I want to make. The one player the Blazers need to get at the trade deadline, and it is a surprising name, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but there is one guy I want no matter what. It's just tough to kind of predict this trade deadline. What were you going to say?
His, I don't want to spoil it either, but...
Don't spoil it. Well, you guys will see.
Is it someone we haven't talked about?
It is... We've talked about him.
Okay.
We've talked about him. Shout out Bob and Wee, $5 dono. Says, people forget ISOs are regularly a coach's game plan and not just a selfish player being selfish. Not every play is 100 passes for a corner 3. I don't fully agree with you, but yeah, if a team is switching, coaches will try and isolate and attack those mismatches. But outside of that, there are some times where we're just not good at freelancing, right? Where we'll ISO because nobody's moving. Those are bad isolations, but those aren't necessarily on the fault of the player who's ISOing if everybody else is just standing around waiting for them to do something. But that's kind of been an issue is when we're not in a set play, we have a tendency to isolate instead of like, oh, move the ball, cut, screen away, play basketball. So, you know, not all ISOs are the same. People just see ISOs. There's some people out there that they think all ISOs are the same and, oh, there's an ISO by CJ. Screw CJ. Right? Now, if we're running a play and CJ's role in the play is to like look to pass it here or to pass it here and he starts isolating, then yeah, criticize him for that. If everybody's standing around and we're not in a play and CJ has the ball, you can't criticize him for ISOing because everybody's waiting for him to do something and nobody's even moving. That's on them, right? And then if they're switching and it's obvious that we're just trying to attack mismatches out of isolation, then that's the coaching staff. That's the game plan of the coaching staff. So that's the thing, is not all ISOs are the same, and people just have some people have a one-track mind in regards to ISOs where it's just like, they're ISOing, that's the player's fault, they need to stop ISOing and being selfish. Right? So, appreciate the $5 donut, Bob and Weave.
Well, let me see who said this in chat. It was Beerus. So he says you can't have only ISO. Nobody's saying don't ever do it though, and that's right. I mean, It's good to have good ISO players that can get buckets, and you need that in the playoffs at times. But it's just like our defense the last few years. You just can't be predictable. So sometimes you can ISO, sometimes you can run pick and roll. You just don't want to make that like something that the other team knows that's all you're going to do. And I feel like we get too into that sometimes.
Yeah, we become too reliant on it, especially in the playoffs. And you're never going to have a game where you don't isolate. Yeah, it's useful, but you just don't want to become too reliant upon it. And that's been our issue the past couple years. So anyway, let's look at the team stats. Eric. 31 assists for the Blazers. That's a really high number for them. To 28 for Toronto. 31 assists on 45 shots. And we shoot 53% from the field and 56% from 3. Maybe assists result in better shot opportunities. You know what I mean? Because people have made the argument in the past that ball movement doesn't matter. It doesn't correlate statistically with winning, which I absolutely hate that argument. But ball movement for the sake of ball movement doesn't mean anything. Productive ball movement matters, right? Because productive ball movement, if ball movement is productive, it's going to result in better shots, and better shots, you're going to make more of them, and if you make more of your shots, you have a better chance of winning, right? It's very, very logical. Some teams kind of move the ball around without really a purpose. I thought today the Blazers moved around the ball with a purpose. That Nassir Little layup off of some great ball movement off, we post up Nurkic, they double him, he kicks it out, they swing it around the horn to, I forget who it was, but I think maybe it was Ellaby on the far side of the court. After 3 passes around the horn, he doesn't even have anybody in front of him because we've moved the ball so well that the defense is scrambling and not really set up on their matchups. So then CJ Ellaby is able to drive the lane. Nassir Little's guy helps off of Nassir Little, who's like on the block, to guard the drive, and then as a dump-off pass for a Nassir Little lay-in. So those types of assists, that type of ball movement helps you win games, right? Passing it around the arc and then, somebody jacking up a contested 3 is not productive ball movement. So 31 assists, you love to see that. And I just love how productive a lot of our ball movement was, where it wasn't just passing for the sake of passing. It was actually working the ball to try and get good shots.
Yeah, I felt like in the first half we did a really good job on that. When they went to the press, I felt like the times we attacked it led to an assist or a really good basket. The times we kind of stopped around half court or passed across the court and let them recover on defense, I felt like we were playing right into their pressure. So
yeah, I mean, there was a couple times we tried to beat it off the dribble and, the ball got back tapped or the guy dribbled into the half court corner and got trapped there. I felt like our setup wasn't that good against the trap, to be honest. Mm-hmm. It was kind of just like one... I don't even know, because it wasn't even really consistent, but it seemed like too many times they didn't have somebody in the middle of the court, which is how you break a press. You get the ball into the middle of the court. We didn't really set any screens in the backcourt for anybody. It was just like give Simons the ball and have him break the press, or give CJ the ball and have him break the press. And then, there was times where they started to kind of pass it around in the backcourt, but it wasn't towards the middle of the court. They would like skip it, and then Simons would skip it to CJ, and CJ would be in the same position as Simon, just on the opposite sideline. So it seemed like we didn't really have a good plan for that, and that's kind of what led to our 22 turnovers, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, 22 turnovers, I mean, a good assist-to-turnover ratio, but you never want to see 22 turnovers. No. And that's what got him back in this game. Because you look at their shooting percentages, Eric. 40% from the field, 33% from 3. Right? And we shoot 53%, 56%. We only win by 9. It's 6 more turnovers than them. And then they also were able to crash the glass.
On the free throw line, too.
Yeah, free throw shooting. Got to do better than that. That's terrible. But then, they get 15 offensive rebounds. So they were able to speed us up and, play fast and aggressive, but also still crash the offensive glass. And that's basically kind of a Nick Nurse team for you.
Part of that was when they got down by 30, they started jacking a lot of threes, which led to long rebounds. But
that is true. But anything else jump out?
No, just the free throws gotta be better. Mm-hmm. Gotta be better. I think Nurk missed a couple, and then Little, I forgot if he missed both, but he at least missed the front end, and then Nurk missed the free throw on the and one. That was just a bad stretch.
Yeah.
Could have iced the game there.
Yeah. So, Simons needs to do a little bit of a better job dribbling through pressure. Most teams you can kind of just dribble against pressure. Toronto's probably the best team in the league at actually pressuring the ball and forcing turnovers. Because you see that in college all the time. You don't see that anywhere near as much in the NBA, and Toronto's been able to do a good job of that the past couple of years.
Well, there was times with that press where we'd have 2 people in the same corner, just stand at the 3-point line, and that's just horrible spacing. Mm-hmm. If you just put someone under the basket and then 2 people in the corners, one in each corner, and then have 2 people help break the press, then Toronto was selling out. They had 3 people at half court at all times, so someone would have gotten an open shot if we were able to kick it ahead, but we just didn't have it spaced well enough most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Do you want to... Well, where's our cameras? What in the world? What in the world? Our cameras are just gone off the main scene. I don't understand that at all. Let me try and fix that, I guess. Let's just hop over to the player cards. Our cameras are here. What in the world? Okay, I don't know. That's a new glitch, I guess. What's up, Madden Mobile? I'll blame you for glitching out our stream by you just hopping in chat. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I'll have to figure out what's wrong with the main scene. Was it a black screen for you, Eric? Is that just on my end, or?
I saw a black screen, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting, I guess. Let's hop over to player cards. I don't have them 100% ready, but since that main scene, I guess, is broken now, the score wasn't even there, so I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. All right, so let me get the player cards in here. Slides. There we go. Starting off with Nas, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Had like 4 or 5 dunks in this game. He did a better job cutting today, Eric. You said that in the last post-game stream. You wanted him to cut more. One of his cuts, Nurk found him the ball, and he probably could have gotten to the rim, and it went through his hands, ended up in a CJ3, so we got kind of lucky on that. But he cut more. Had 3 assists as well, was a plus 20, played some good defense, very efficient, 2 for 3 from 3, started off early with 2 threes. That he's had another game like that where he started off hot from 3. I think that was the Denver game where he started off making his first couple of threes, but instead in that game he jacked up a bunch of threes. I think 10 of his 11 shots in that game were threes. And then it was like, oh, he made a couple threes early, so he kept jacking them up and not looking to do anything else. This game he made a couple threes early, still cut, still attacked, and played a really good offensive game.
Yeah, I thought Nas had a fantastic game, one of his best games of the year on both ends. And I like that he hit a couple threes early, but didn't stick around the three-point line. He actually tried to make it better.
Yeah. So, when it's always cool when we critique a player and then they make those improvements in the next game and have a really good game. So, good job, Nas. Round of applause, props for making a more concerted effort to cut, to attack, to get some shots on the interior. That's how he ended up with 19 points off only 11 shots. Good for him. Let's move on. We have another 19-point game. CJ, in his 38 minutes, we've already talked a bit about CJ. Had 2 steals in this game as well. 5 turnovers, a lot. We turned over the ball a bunch. A lot of players are going to have high turnover numbers given how we struggle with our press. What else do you have to say about CJ if you have anything else?
Yeah, I just got to cut down on the turnovers, but other than that, I thought he played really well. I felt like he just did a fantastic job of not forcing shots. I felt like there was at least 5 or 6 times where he got the ball and that would have for sure been a shot in previous years. And he actually passed it around the key or did something with it that was other than just dribbling and shooting. And I really like that if he continues to play that way.
Yeah, agreed. We'll have to see on if he's traded the trade deadline. I have to wonder if maybe how well the teams looked since he returns kind of affects things there. We can talk about that in a little bit. Anfernee, another 19-point game. Lots of 19-point games for the Blazers today. 5 assists, 6 turnovers, steal, 5 for 9 from 3. So a good 3-point shooting night. Not efficient from 2, 1 for 9. Really struggled inside the arc. This was kind of like a game he would have last year, but he'd also only have had 1 assist as well. So still finding a way to play make. You like to see that. Not a terrible game. He had a couple clutch shots. He just struggled inside the arc pretty much and had some bad turnovers.
Yeah, 6 turnovers, not good, obviously. But I felt like he should have had a lot more assists as well. But I thought he did a pretty good job. And, of course, he comes up clutch with 2 big threes at the end. And that's what you like to see. Someone who's been struggling from the field make plays when it matters, when they close the deficit down to 4, and he hits 2 big threes. So I like to see that. And he did so confidently, and afterwards I loved how he doesn't get too excited or too jacked up about things. It reminds me a lot of Dame earlier in his career. Dame's now all of a sudden gotten a little flashier when he celebrates a lot more with the wrist taps and stuff. But earlier in his career, Dame was was stone cold, like didn't show much emotion on the court.
Yeah, and Simons passed up a 3 late. He skipped it to Rocco with a late shot clock. They were out on Rocco well, and we didn't end up scoring off of it. And Simon said in his post-game on-court interview that Chauncey told him, if you want to be that guy, you got to take that shot. So then Simons hits 2 threes after that. You love to see it. Answering that question. He wants to be that guy. He knocked down 2 clutch shots. Let's move on to Ben McLemore, 17 points, 6 for 9 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3. He was sniping tonight, Eric. 18 minutes, 17 points. I mean, I don't know how a contender wouldn't want Ben McLemore if they need some shooting off the bench. This dude has been perfect in his role as just a come off the bench and get up threes, movement shooter. It's not just, spot up threes. He's coming off the screens and knocking down shots, and he's not making many offensive mistakes, not forcing too many bad shots. He's been real perfect in his role. No turnovers today. That's a rare sight with the 22 turnovers from the Blazers. What'd you think of McLemore?
McLemore was fantastic tonight, and this was super important because we got off to such a good start, right? And we played our starters almost the whole first quarter. But then McLemore comes in and he just keeps it going. And the bench increased the lead from like 20-something to like 30 in a matter of a few minutes. And it's because he hit like 3 threes in a row, I think. So, yeah, I mean, if teams are going to leave him open, he's been killing them. And if they're not leaving him open, that allows other players to have better spacing, and our offense, I think, is smoother just because of all the attention he sees. So, yeah, just real good season by McLemore so far, and he continued that tonight.
Yeah. Somebody asked why would we trade McLemore if he's playing good for us. I mean, if this team isn't serious about making a playoff run, then it makes sense. He's going to be a free agent next year. Also, if we are trying to make a playoff run at the end of the season, I don't know how much he's going to play. If we don't trade one of Norm, Ant, CJ, or Dame, I don't see where McLemore gets his minutes in that situation. So, it obviously depends on other things with this team. I wouldn't mind keeping him, but if you can get back value for him, or he can be kind of the throw-in piece that swings a trade for a bigger name, you absolutely have to consider that if you're Portland. Let's move on to Jusuf Nurkic. He has to work on his free throws. 1 for 5 from the free throw line today. He's been shooting fine for the season, but I think he's coming off a 10 for 13 free throw game in Boston, and then 1 for 5 today. Not so good. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Had 4 turnovers, though. 5 for 9 from the field, including 5 for 8 from 2, and he missed his only 3.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid game outside of the turnovers, once again, and the missed free throws. But just another solid effort from Nurk. But yeah, got to make your free throws and can't turn the ball over 4 times.
Yeah, agreed. I was hoping Nurkic had a big game today because Toronto's one of those teams where it's like maybe they would be interested in Jusuf Nurkic because they kind of need a center, right? But, if you bring up, trading one of their 3 forwards that they have, they don't want to trade any of them, and Raptors fans hate the idea of trading any of them, and, they expect way too much back, so it's going to be interesting to see if Toronto maybe moves off one of their forwards. Pascal Siakam's been my favorite trade target. Nurkic would make some sense there. I think they kind of need a center. But, it's not like Nurkic crushed them today with when they had Precious in on him, he got a couple easy buckets on him. But when the game kind of sped up, it was hard for him to really make as much of an impact. Didn't play down the stretch for a period of time, I believe, as well. We subbed in a 3-guard lineup to kind of have more ball handling against the pressure that Toronto was giving us. We were playing Dennis Smith Jr., CJ, and Ant together for a period of time, so maybe this wasn't the easiest matchup for him. But didn't have a terrible game. This was an okay game for Nurkic, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay is a good way to put it. But I don't know. He's kind of playing his way out of being traded, though.
Possibly. I mean,
so that might not matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think his value on the trade market is worth how good he is. You know what I mean? Like, I think max we get a first back for him, but
Yeah.
I think, it's like Larry Nance Jr. got a first. We trade 2 firsts for Robert Covington. I think he's better than Robert Covington was back then. I think he's better than Nance. Like, I think he's worth more than a first. So the only way I'm on board with trading him is if we think he's going to get a payday that we don't want to pay him because we think it will eliminate other options. But, I mean, what would those other options be? We'd have to identify them and actually, like, if it's a situation where we trade him because he's going to cost us another opportunity, we then can't not act on that opportunity that we traded Nurkic to open up. So it's kind of a tricky situation with Nurkic. Also, does he want to stay here next year? I think he's enjoying his time a little bit more right now, but depending on who's on the roster after the trade deadline, that affects things. So it's a very iffy situation with Nurkic. It's going to be interesting to see if he's on the team past the deadline. I don't think it's a situation necessarily where he doesn't get traded now, because there is a lot of questions outside of his play regarding him.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's move on. We got CJ Ellaby. 4 for 7 from the field. Hit his only 3. He had a nice pull-up too. His jumper's looking better, which is good to see. Also hit a floater in this game. 9 points in 17 minutes. You'll absolutely take that from Ellaby. Also had an assist, a steal, a block, had 3 boards. Very solid game. Didn't have a turnover. He played pretty flawlessly in this one, I think.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, there was one fast break where he was obviously going to get blocked, and he took it in and got blocked. And
Yeah, that was bad.
But then in the second half, he had one, I think it was on Siakam maybe, and you were like, oh no, here we go again. And then he actually made it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
nice. So maybe you can do that. But I thought this was one of his best games of the year as well. And I felt like he was a difference maker in a run in the first half when he came in. And he's just been playing really solid when he's gotten minutes. And like you said, if he's making his shots too and not turning the ball over, not committing a lot of fouls either, this guy can help you on the floor.
Yeah, he's starting to piece things together offensively, which is nice to see. Defensively, he got burnt on a spin move twice in short succession. So, it was just a situation where it was one of those spin moves where I think it was OG was facing up. It was OG's left-handed and one on Nurk, but just took one dribble to the right and Ellaby overslid to that side, so he was able to spin back towards the rim. So CJ Ellaby will figure those things out. You want to slide enough to cut them off, but not so much that they're able to spin back or cross over back. You don't want to overextend one way or the other. So I think he'll figure those things out. But you got some guys that know how to spin there in Toronto, to say the least. Moving on to Robert Covington. This is quite a stat line. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for Rocco. Good for Rocco, man. 5 assists on 2 turnovers. He had arguably the best playmaking for others day, because he had 2.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio with his 5 assists, where like everybody else that made plays for others also made plays for the Raptors with their turnovers. 2 steals, 2 blocks as well, so he filled up the stat sheet. 3 for 10 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. Would like to have him have a more efficient game than that, but still a solid game nonetheless.
Yeah, still would like to see him shoot better. I feel like his shot selection's kind of weird, but other than that, yeah, he's filling the stat sheet. And nice to see him, once again, having another solid stat line that you can show other teams.
Yeah, there was a play which summed up the Rocco experience. He was guarding Siakam and actually did a really good job staying in front, cutting him off. Slid his feet really, really well. And then after he cuts off Siakam, he just pokes at the ball, just reaches hardcore at the ball, commits a foul. It's that's the Rocco experience. He's not going to stay in front of a guy and then not reach for the ball. He's always going to try and get his steals, man. So that was one of those plays where if we're in a playoff series, I'm very frustrated with Rocco, but screw it, Rocco, chase your steals, I guess. Still don't really know what to expect at the deadline. I mean, I don't think it's a situation where anybody on this team is for sure going to get traded. People have talked about Rocco in that way. I don't think that's necessarily the case, so it's just going to be interesting to see how his situation progresses.
Yeah, I think it's still a matter of, because he's a free agent, he's the most likely, but Yeah, I don't know.
Let's move on to. Oh, here we go. We got the Trendon's jail. You got Delano Banton added to this. It's absolutely filling up. Trendon says no is the tagline for this. Good stat line for Trendon Watford today. 6 points on 3 for 6 from the field, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. I told you he could play make. 3 assists in 14 minutes, plus 9. Phenomenal game for Trendon.
I like his little floater in the key if he's open. Feels like he's got that down pretty good.
Yeah, he'll be a good short roll guy because he can hit that floater, and then he also made a really good kick out pass for a 3 off the short roll in this game as well.
Yeah. But, I mean, the defense has just been super impressive by him this year, and we knew he could handle the ball. We knew he could pass a little bit. We knew he could score a little bit. But the defense has just been, I mean, I don't know why he didn't get credit for a block tonight because he definitely had a block. But yeah, it's I just love what he's doing out on the court, and I find it myself wanting him to play more.
Yeah, I agree. Would like to see him play a little bit next to Nurkic. See, that's the thing is like height-wise, standing reach-wise, he's a power forward for sure. But to play next to Nurkic, he has to be able to space the floor a little bit. So I would like to see him just start shooting whenever he's wide open from 3. It's not like he was a bad or a terrible 3-point shooter in college. I think it was 33%, but like some of those were off the dribble, like isolation. He shot a couple step backs. Like it wasn't just spot up shots. So I would like to see him when he's completely wide open start to shoot and just see what the results are, and try and get comfortable in that regard, because long term his position is the 4. Long term I think he's going to need to start to shoot the 3 ball. So I would like to, I mean, better start early than late, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully, he doesn't shoot terribly. Let's move on to Dennis Smith Jr. 6 assists in this game for Dennis, 1 turnover, so he had the best playmaking game today. 5 points as well, played 14 minutes, including some crunch time minutes to try and help out with the pressure that Toronto was giving Portland. What did you think of Dennis today?
Yeah, I thought Dennis was really good, especially when he came in at the end to help break the press. He was really aggressive with it, the more aggressive than CJ and Ant were being, and I felt like that was the difference there to kind of stifling the lead, in addition to Ant obviously hitting those 2 threes, but Dennis Smith just calming everyone down and doing the right things, and that I thought he did a really good job of breaking the press.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to have a third guard, Dame's out. It's nice to have a third guard in a situation like this where you have the lead, and defensively it's not necessarily the best situation, but if you have the lead and you're struggling with the pressure, you want to be able to put out as many ball handlers as you can. You don't want to go too small, but it's nice to have that third ball handler out there on the court, and continues to play good defense. That's kind of his main thing at this point. So a good game from Dennis Smith Jr. Let's move on to no, that's it for the player cards. Yeah, I don't know if there was that the last player? I feel like we only did 8, but I can't remember. No, we did 9. I can't count. I cannot count. Alrighty, so that is the player. What were you gonna say?
Well, chat started talking about this, and I wanted to just go back to it real quick. And that's for Ben McLemore, whether to trade him or not. Part of the problem is he's on a minimum contract, so if he's outplayed a minimum contract for next year, we're at a situation where we would have to probably use part of the mid-level exception to retain him. And so that becomes a case of if we go after like a bigger name in free agency and he's not willing to take the minimum, or some other team offers him more than the minimum, it becomes tough to keep him. So it's more of a case of it kind of sucks, but when you sign someone for 1 year for the minimum, you don't have their bird rights to sign them for more than the minimum the next year, really. So we'd be kind of chancing that another team wouldn't step in. But I mean, if you just wanted to keep him for this year, I guess that's fine. But that's kind of why you might want to capitalize on a value like that, and then you have the same avenues to re-sign him for next year, so you could always try to re-sign him again, and just be like, dude, this is the situation. We weren't very good. We sent you to a contender, but we want you back now, and maybe it'll work out to have him back at another point. But that's just kind of the reasons why you would look at trading him when he's played so well.
Yeah, agreed with that. So I'm currently trying to figure out why
it's a black screen.
Why it's a black screen? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm trying to fix things here. On my little scene preview, it shows that it's fine, and then I switch over to the scene and it's a black screen. So I don't know what's. That's better. I don't know what was happening with this thing, man, but it was giving us a black screen for whatever reason. Yeah, so maybe I need to update my computer or something. I don't know. I'll try and figure it out after the stream.
How is that tampering?
How is what? What do they think was tampering?
I don't know. Bureau says I was fined $10 for tampering. This was reminded me of the mock-off season, I guess. I would never tamper, though.
Yeah, Eric would never tamper, as far as you know.
And this is another key one. So Thomas Oransky, I don't like that trade at all. But I mean, if we could get a first, wait, protections removed? You mean get our first back?
They're not trading our first back to us for Matt Thomas for Ben McLemore.
We do not want to have the protections removed from our pick this year. That would be disastrous.
I don't understand that at all.
But here's the Bulls again. We talked about this either last stream or the stream before. Now the Bulls are without Alex Caruso for at least 6 to 8 weeks.
Because Grayson Allen is dirty as hell.
Yeah. So there's a... I never thought the Bulls would need a guard this season, but they're starting to now need guard depth. So if we somehow could throw in maybe Ben into that trade and get more back, Rocco and Ben.
Yeah, or maybe it's just to make sure we get our first back. I mean, maybe they're on the fence about that. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it wouldn't be a situation where Norm would make sense. They wouldn't really easily be able to match his salary in long term. I don't see how he makes sense there. So, Norm CJ doesn't really make sense, but McLemore just as a minimum contract throw into that trade could make a lot of sense for them. I agree. I'm just reading chat here. Question, are there any two-way players we should trade for? You're only allowed to have two two-way players. We already have two two-way players, and I don't think they can even be traded, can they, Eric?
They can be traded, but they don't count as salary, and
there's really no point.
I don't know if this ever really happened.
I don't think it has. Yeah. So
because you can just cut them, and so it's not like teams are trying to ditch their contracts or something.
Sean says Bulls will sign LiAngelo. You want to bet? I bet you they don't. I don't even know what. I'm not even actually serious about betting, but you need to come in here and say you're wrong at the end of the season if they don't. All right, that's the bet. Bang.
Bills just took the lead by 3 points with the touchdown.
I just watched that. Not even gonna lie. I do have it on the side here. So I'm rooting for the Bills. Our Niners are in the NFC Championship. We're going against the Rams. Let's go. Let's get it. I need a championship in something.
I got home from work, and my neighbor was like, "Congratulations," and I was like, "What for?" And he's like, "Oh, I heard you last night yelling at the 49ers.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a cool neighbor.
He said when we blocked the punt for a touchdown, I screamed like, "Let's effing go!" And he's like, "I totally heard that. I was outside cleaning something." Yeah,
that's so funny. That's cool that your neighbor's cool with that.
Yeah.
No, shut the hell.
He's a Seahawks fan, so yeah.
Oh, got you. Yeah, poor Seahawks fans, man. I mean, I just want a championship in something. It would just... Bucks lost today. If the Chiefs lost, that'd be cool, because you get 4 teams that haven't won it in a really long time, if ever. Bengals, Bills, Niners, Rams. That'd make for good action. Here's an issue, though, Eric. Here's an issue. on Sunday, the Blazers play at 12:30. The Niners play at 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
Our post-game show would start at about 3.
Yeah.
So, for that day, I'm thinking maybe we do a watch party for channel members for that game. And then we do a 30-minute post-game show.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because I'm trying to watch that game, man.
That might be cool.
Yeah. So, we'll stream during the game for channel members. If you want to become a channel member, hit the join button so you don't miss that stream. We'll do a stream for channel members, a play-by-play stream. In that to replace, that's because we'll be doing a shorter post-game stream. It'll be like a 30-minute post-game stream. We'll try and be ready with the post-game show right after that game, but I could not do a post-game show and have the Niners game on and function, so
might be kind of fun though.
The post-game show would just be us
yelling,
demonetizing our channel permanently.
Yeah.
So that's not the best idea. Yeah. See, and then we'd have people hating on football. Football is mid, you know what I mean? We got Gopoid here, man. We enjoy football. You don't have to. We don't care. Sorry you don't enjoy it. But yeah, about ready to go for around the NBA. And then kind of wrap up the stream. Give us trade questions for the next 5 minutes, and then we'll go around the NBA. Or give us one or two. We'll answer one or two. I don't know. I just have to get this ready. Henry says we should do a 49er podcast. I don't know football like that. It wouldn't be the same. It'd be fun, but it wouldn't be the same.
I mean, Bosnian Bear, we didn't name it, so I don't know why it's called football.
Yeah. I don't blame you for not understanding us Americans with our Fahrenheit and feet and our measuring systems.
That was quick, Cole.
Yeah. Look at him. That's suspect. 3rd and 10 right now for the Chiefs at their 25. Got a first down. This is a really good... Dude, okay, so this round has been really good for football. All right. The last round was there was 4 blowouts and only 2 close games, and one of the close games was both teams playing idiotically, which was Niners-Cowboys. This round... all 4 games have been extremely entertaining. It's been enjoyable.
Sorry, I wasn't able to take pictures of this game.
Unfortunately, 2 straight streams without a Brant's breakdown. People are going to start getting withdrawals, Eric.
You can show the one from last game that we didn't get
to. Do you want me to?
I don't care. I'm just joking. Shout out to Henry M, though, for the $5 donation with the best donation ever, maybe. 49ers plus Blazers win. Great weekend.
Great weekend. Oh, my goodness. The Chiefs just hit a 60-yard touchdown.
Are you serious?
To Tyreek Hill with a minute left. Oh,
How
my
do you
goodness.
let that guy get open?
Wow. How long was that play? Wow.
64 yards, I think.
Yeah, he hit a post across the middle and ran to the sideline, had blockers with them. Yeah, it was just a post route. And he cut it, he's just so fast. He cut it to the right sideline. There wasn't really anybody there. Wow, what a play.
How much? A minute left?
Yeah, we'll see what the Bills can do. Do you want us to commentate the end of this game, chat?
Well, they're going to need a touchdown now because a field goal doesn't help them. So.
Yeah. So now it's Josh Allen's time to shine. Down 4, 33-29 Kansas City. Yeah, we'll commentate the rest of this game, I guess. Do you have it on in the background, Eric?
No, I'm just watching on a sportscast.
I got you. You guys want to see how my football commentating is? You guys want to see if I'm capable? Yeah, oh God, the Chiefs, dude. I don't want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. It's like, if they win this game, it's going to be, they're going up against the Bengals, and the Bengals are the feel-good story, and the villains are just going to smack them. Yeah, I'm tired of the Kansas City Chiefs. Henry says Josh Allen got this covered. I hope so, man. I mean, if there's one guy to lead your team, not one guy. I'm not even thinking about what I'm saying. But that's one of the guys you would like in this sort of situation. Keeps plays alive, hard to sack. They have 3 timeouts left, so they have more than enough time. This is going to be really good. What trade package would you be looking for Larry Nance if we were to trade him? I don't know. A first, but I'm not really trying to sell him. It's more so like if we're trying to accomplish something bigger than him and need to include him in the trade. Because next year, if we keep him, he's an expiring contract trade chip, so that has some value. So if he is a free agent, it'd probably be a different conversation.
Yeah. I'd maybe be looking at some of the teams that have a trade exception that can absorb him if it's a case where we're fire selling. I don't think it makes sense. But if we trade a Nurkic, a team like Brooklyn, if they called and said, you know what, we're not really wanting to pay Claxton this offseason, you guys just traded away your center, we could absorb Nance in our trade exception. So like a Nance for Claxton type trade. Yeah. I would definitely consider that if we needed a center in that situation.
Yep. So kickoff was a touchback ball at the 25, first down. Josh Allen throws it to nobody in particular. I don't know. It's probably miscommunication with him and the receiver. It looked like he thought the receiver was going to run a go route, and the receiver ran a curl. So not ideal.
The next play is though.
Next play's good? You're spoiling it?
Spoiler.
Next play's good. We got 2nd and 10. Josh Allen in shotgun, takes the snap, runs up in the pocket, passes it across to Gabriel Davis to the 47-yard line. Gets hit. Still 49 seconds on the clock. Buffalo takes a timeout. So they are already across to midfield, Eric. This is good action. Good action. I love playoff sports that comes down to the end. That's Eddie, dude, like even soccer. I got into soccer, Timbers. I never really watched the Timbers before this year. Shout out to Connor for getting me into soccer. Their playoff run was a lot of fun. Just those moments, the atmosphere, the pressure. Gabriel Davis, 6 catches, 170 yards. That's a good fantasy football sleeper for next year, Eric. I know you won't remember this by then, but that's going to be one of my sleepers next year, Gabriel Davis.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Niner game sure came down to the end.
Oh, that block punt was awesome. Josh Allen back to pass. Throws it to the middle. Gabriel Davis, another catch. First down at the 35-yard line. What's up?
Packers losing at home when they gave up no offensive touchdowns and only 13 points. It's just
I know.
Weird.
Know. They're in hurry up. Josh Allen back to pass, scrambles, rolling out right. A shot down the field, incomplete. Threw it for Stephon Diggs around the 10-yard line on the sideline. Good defense by Ward. It's my football commentary. Good, guys. Jamar Chase needs to be one of your first picks next fantasy season. He won me the championship this year. Well, he probably won you the championship because you drafted him in like the 9th round. I passed on him and I passed on Debo, and I regret it. And I was going to take Debo, but I had took Brandon Ayuk earlier, so I didn't want 2 Niners receivers. So I passed on Debo, even though he's like my favorite sleeper. And I took Michael Thomas, and he never played.
Ayuk was so disappointing.
And then Ayuk was disappointing. I dropped him, and then he started to play well right after I dropped him. It was rough. 35-yard line, 2nd and 10. Josh Allen back to pass. 20 seconds on the game clock. Throws it to the sideline. It is a dual catch. Both guys got the football, which means it goes to the offense. There is a flag. It looks like defensive pass interference. So the ball is within the 20-yard line, about at the 18. Call is pass interference on the defense. So the Bills will have 17 seconds from the 18-yard line, Eric. They'll probably be able to get off 3 plays if they run 1 or 2 of them quick, maybe 4. But you're probably looking at 3 plays for the Bills in this situation. Anthony Swafford, you're trying to get a 5-minute ban with that one, my guy? Not only did you not spell my name right, now why you say my favorite player is Richie Incognito. Hell no. Ball at the 19-yard line, 1st and 10, 17 on the game clock. Shotgun, snap to Josh Allen. Throwing for the end zone. It is caught by Stephon. No, that's Gabriel Davis. Another touchdown catch for Gabriel Davis. The Bills take the lead with 13 seconds left on the clock. What a phenomenal football game, man. Gabriel Davis has 4 touchdowns, Eric. That was his 4th touchdown catch. He's over 200 yards. Oh my goodness. He ran a deep post route. There was no safety help. The safeties were playing towards the sidelines. Extra point to go up 3 points.
Man, these 2 games today, it's so crazy. The swings.
Wow. Josh Allen, with a minute and 2 seconds left, leads his team from the 25-yard line all the way down for a touchdown. There's a sign that says Josh Allen, GOAT in progress in the stands. We're going to find out how far Pat Mahomes can throw a football, Eric. Because you know he has a cannon. They have time to get... I don't know how much time they're going to have after this kickoff. But the Chiefs do have a timeout. So it's probably going to be a situation... they're not going to have time. They're going to have to try and get a return here. Because there's 13 seconds left on the game clock. Josh Allen's hugging Gabriel Davis on the sideline. They think they've won. Postseason record for receiving touchdowns in a game.
Sorry, Andy.
Sorry. I wonder if they squib it. Explain in basketball terms. Game 7 and the Lakers...
I like the second round.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it in basketball terms. Kick is to the back of the end zone. No attempt at a return. Oh, the clock doesn't start until they catch it. Okay, so 13 on the game clock still for Pat Mahomes. They have 3 timeouts. So I assume Buffalo's going to run a prevent defense. Kansas City can throw it to the middle of the field because they have 3 timeouts. Mm-hmm. So they need to probably get to the 35, 40-yard line. That would be a 60 to 65-yard throw to the end zone. Mahomes has a cannon. Buffalo lined up with 4 defensive linemen and then 5... I assume there's probably some secondary personnel, but 5 players kind of strewn across the field 10 yards deep. It's kind of an interesting defensive setup there.
Yeah, all 4 home teams taking an L if the Chiefs don't come back.
Hell yeah. See, that's what I enjoy about... I wish NBA playoffs were more unpredictable. And last year was kind of unpredictable, I guess, but that's what makes baseball and football fun, man. Is you can be a dominant team, but in baseball, it's, teams aren't as dominant in that sport. And then football, it's 1 game. All right. 13 seconds left. Mahomes, shotgun snap. Throws it. Tyreek Hill down to the 40, down to the 45. 7 seconds left on the game clock. Mahomes will be able to get off a Hail Mary at least. Don't spoil anything, Eric.
I don't know anything.
I got you.
But they could probably...
They could try and get into field goal
7 seconds. They could run one more play with timeouts. Do that exact same play again. Yeah.
Game clock went from 7 to 8 seconds, so that only took 5 seconds off the game clock, and they got about 20 yards on it. They are at about the 45, so another 20 yards gets you a 50-ish yard field goal.
Yep.
I don't think you can... It was a short pass to Tyreek Hill with blockers. So I don't know how you defend this if you're Buffalo. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of give up the same sort of thing. They have 4 down linemen playing a little bit tighter to the line. And timeout Buffalo. Final timeout of the half. Yes, this is now a football channel. Look at our viewers. They went down from like 120 to 90. Oh well. In basketball terms, this is like if two teams exchange game-winning three-pointers, and now the Chiefs have 2 seconds to get off their game-winning shot. Yes.
What was that game earlier in there? It was like the Thunder and SGA hit like a crazy three, and then the other team hit a three or something.
Devontae Graham, yeah.
Devontae Graham hits a game winner at the end from like quarter or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that game.
Kind of like that.
Only in the playoffs.
Yeah. The end of football games are just so much different than the end of basketball games, though. Just two completely different sports. Hard to come up with a good comparison. But yeah, we'll get into around the NBA right after this game is concluded. I definitely wanted to watch the end of this, and I might as well just commentate it. Because there's probably a lot of people watching this right now that would otherwise be in the stream. Mahomes back to pass, throws over the middle of the field. Caught by Kelsey down to the 30-yard line. And they get a timeout with 3 seconds left. They let Kelsey gash them down the middle of the field. How in the world do you give up 45 yards in 10 seconds?
I don't know.
Dude, these defenses in these situations just play so conservative, it bites them in the butt.
But Curtis got to make it, though.
It's a 48-yarder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. There's no way they choked. They were acting like they won the freaking football game. And now it's only a 48-yard field goal to tie it up and send it into OT. Thomas Arinsky, that's not the case if the Niners make it.
Well, it depends on how they play, I guess.
And the kick is up. The kick is good. We are going to overtime. Buffalo choked.
Holy moly.
This has been the best divisional round maybe in NFL history.
Let's do around the NBA.
All right, around the NBA. And then we'll probably end the stream, and then I'll watch the end of this game. Then I'll go work a little bit. These early Friday and Sunday games, Friday and Saturday is like my most profitable dinner shifts for doing Uber Eats, DoorDash, because that's what I do, in case anybody isn't familiar with that. And these early Friday, Sunday games are messing with me. So, let's go around the NBA. I have to... Today's the 23rd, so I still have to load in the proper slideshow. I thought I already did that, but I got distracted by football. We had a lot of games today, as is the case on a lot of Sundays. You have the Knicks beating the Clippers 110-102. The Clippers, we'll see where they are in the standings. The Blazers gain a game on them. The Celtics get 51 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists from Jason Tatum. Phenomenal game for him. They beat up on the Wizards 116-87. You get the Magic. Ooh, the Magic blow out the Bulls, Eric.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, this is the injury bug biting the Bulls right now as they end up losing to the Orlando Magic 114-95. Mo Wagner, 23 off the bench. DeRozan had 41 on 15 for 21 shooting. So he tried his best to will the Bulls to a win. Kobe White had 22, but the Bulls are very banged up right now, unfortunately. You get the Blazers being the Raptors, good for them. You got the Heat. I don't know what that Heat logo is, but I kind of like it. Chris, I don't know if Chris did that or if that's like a logo they released or what, but I like the logo. 113-107, the Heat beat the Lakers. The Lakers continue to struggle. You got Hawks. They're going to beat the Hornets. I don't know. This game might have went final. Chris tried to make this as close to the time we did around the NBA for the scores that are still going on. But, of course, we got distracted by football. Anyway, the Hawks are going to win that game, though. You got the Sixers beating the San Antonio Spurs.
It's final 113-91.
113-91. All right.
The Sixers game is final as well, 115-109.
Yep. The Sixers take care of business. You got the Mavericks beating up on the Grizzlies. They are currently up 95-77. Luka Doncic has 36 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, so close to a triple-double for him. John Morant, 31 points. You got the Denver Nuggets and the Detroit Pistons. They were tied. The Nuggets have since went on a run. 82-75. The Nuggets are leading that one. Nikola Jokic having a good game. You got the Timberwolves beating the Brooklyn Nets right now. 100-92 is the latest score. D'Angelo Russell, 23 points, 8 assists. Kyrie has 20 points. They have James Harden as well, but he's struggling 4 for 13 from the field. Of course, they're without Kevin Durant, but Kessler Edwards continues to play well. Eric, 20 minutes, 5 for 8 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, 13 points. So a rookie helping a team win. How about that? And then this is the matchup of the day. You got the Warriors and the Jazz facing off. This game is currently just starting the third quarter. The Warriors are up 55-54. This game is being played on NBA TV if anybody wants to watch that because they hate football. Anyway, those are the scores from today. The Western Conference standings, Eric. I don't know what happened to the games behind. Chris? I think it was 3.5 games behind for Golden State, and the three just, transferred up to the top line. But 0.003 games back. Phoenix still number one. You got Golden State 3.5 games back. Memphis 5.5 with their loss today. 6.5 for Utah. The Blazers are currently 2.5 games up against the team below them, which is New Orleans. 3 games up in Sacramento and San Antonio. So we're running away from the tank job, Eric.
Yep. We sure are.
Unfortunate. I will do a tankathon sim off stream and just let you know where we're at. We stay at 9th. That is still our spot right now, and we're still a game worse than the Hawks for 10th and 2.5 below 8th place New Orleans in terms of the lottery rankings. We're only 2 games below 9th and 2.5 games below 7th, which is the Lakers. And Minnesota tied for 7th. And we're only 4 games out of 6th. So still a chance to make some noise, especially if we continue to win these games. Let's go to the Eastern Conference standings. Take a look at those. Not really anything to say about them. Still super jam-packed. It's going to be interesting to see if Charlotte can move up, considering they're only 3.5 games out of first, which is Brooklyn. Brooklyn as of now. Their game already went final. Yeah, so should be Brooklyn. Miami's up there. Chicago. We'll see if they fall off. Let's look at the next 5 games, Eric. This is the rest of January. We have some winnable games coming up. Minnesota and Dallas at home. Then Houston on the road. They're terrible. Chicago on the road. They're really banged up. And then Oklahoma City on the road. They've been playing terrible.
Yep. And then we're 2.5 games behind Minnesota, who's tied for 7th right now. So that's a big game if you're worried about us trying to get up into the first play-in instead of the second play-in, or maybe even make a run at the 6th seed.
Yep. So that is around the NBA. I think the Blazers are going to win some games coming up. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't even know about this season at this point.
Kind of BS, though. Go on a 6-game road trip, have 1 day off, and then you're playing a back-to-back, and then go on another road trip again with games every other day, and then a back-to-back.
Yeah, this is a weird part of the schedule, man. Early games, and then a lot of games kind of packed into one stretch. I don't know. I like late games with 1 to 2 days in between each game. That's what I enjoy, not what we got going on for January. Anyway, that's around the NBA. Do I think we'll break 500 for the road this season? No, Sean. Back tough. To the football game. It's 3rd and 1. Chiefs got the ball first in overtime. They roll Mahomes out to the left. He throws wide open Travis Kelce. The Bills secondary is throwing the game. So in the playoffs, OT works the same as the regular season, right, Eric?
No, it's 15 minutes, and then you just keep playing overtimes.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Like, you can't tie.
No tie. Yeah.
So outside of that.
It's 15 minutes instead of 10, and then it starts over every overtime. So
I just mean in terms of football.
Chiefs score a touchdown, they win.
Mm-hmm.
Field goal, then Bills would have a chance to either tie or get a touchdown to win.
Yep. So a touchdown here would win it for the Chiefs. I feel like that's what's coming, but they run. I don't know why they're running at this point. They've been able to kind of gash the Bills through the air. Only a 1-yard gain for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We're going to just commentate the rest of this football game, then we're going to sign off. That's what it's going to be. A little change of pace for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy.
If anyone wants to ask any questions while we'll
answer questions.
Commentating too.
Mm-hmm. 2nd and 8 for Mahomes in the shotgun. He's back to pass again, looking for a screen to Jerick McKinnon, and he's going to get a first down and more down to the 38-yard line for McKinnon. Beerus out here spoiling it in chat. And apparently he's rooting for the Chiefs. So, Beerus, I am disappointed in you, man. We're not Chiefs fans here. Bengals should sign Antonio Brown. Why in the world would they do that? Have they said how long Markkanen is out? He sprained his ankle, so it doesn't look like it's too serious, but probably a
Thankfully,
couple
that looked
weeks.
really bad.
Yeah, I heard it looked really bad. Mahomes passes Tyreek Hill, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle. Oh my goodness, the Bills can't tackle. It's only a 4-yard reception. Should have been a 1-yard reception. But the Bulls struggling defensively. The Bulls, dude. Why am I saying the Bulls? The Bills struggling defensively right now. See, even when I try and transfer my mindset over to football, I still talk basketball. Ant for Lou Dort, Eric. Hell no. Hail to the no. Allison says she's a Chiefs fan, but rooting for the Bills? That makes absolutely zero sense. 2nd and 6 for Mahomes.
Allison's a fan of like 8 teams.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Mahomes back to pass. Throws it, and a wide... Oh my goodness. You got McCollum Hardman down inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. The Bills are about to choke this game, Eric. I'm not going to read chat because Beerus keeps spoiling it. Thanks, Beerus. Dude, McCollum Hardman was wide open on a little 5-yard drag route. Just a complete coverage breakdown for the Bills. So they have 1st and goal. Ball at the 8-yard line for the Chiefs. Touchdown wins the game. Mahomes in shotgun. Gets the snap. Throwing to the end zone. It's Kelsey. He catches the ball. The game is over. The Chiefs win.
Wow.
The Buffalo Bills with a choke job for the ages. Wow. I'm kind of mad. to be honest. Well, that's why you don't let him go 45 yards in 10 seconds.
Yeah. So much for your prediction, Allison.
The Bills.
She said she picked the Bills to win it all at the beginning of the year. That's why she was rooting for the Bills, I think.
Yeah, Kelsey might have bobbled this. Nah, he did not. I think he got both feet down. It was on the sideline. Yep, he got both feet down. That's a catch. Man, all right. Well,
Sean, I do not believe we'll use our trade exception because almost every player in the NBA does not fit into that trade exception. So I think it'll just go away. And but look for the Blazers to create a bigger trade exception with a trade of, say, a Norman Powell or a Larry Nance, like we talked about, and possibly use that in the off season. But I expect them to get under the tax at the deadline with any trade they make.
Yep. God, I hate the Chiefs. Anyway, yeah. So I also hate overtime rules in the NFL, Eric, especially in the playoffs. I understand it for a regular season, but the fact that it's decided on a coin flip like that, I hate that. I despise that. They need to do.
Stop them, though.
What'd you say?
They could stop them, though.
Yeah, they could, but it's not like it's not fair enough in the playoffs for me. In the regular season, sure. In the playoffs, they need to do the college OT. In my opinion.
Yes, Bordan, that is 100% correct. He is the most annoying person in the world.
Yep.
Mahomes' brother, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's the worst. Yeah, so they need to go to college OT. Maybe don't start him as close to the end zone. Maybe start him at the 40, start him at the 50. It needs to be a situation where both teams can possess because I hate that. But, I mean, the Bills choked this game. They had a 3-point lead with 13 seconds left on a kickoff. And the Chiefs go down 45 yards in 10 seconds to kick the game-tying field goal. I mean, there's no way you can do that. There's no way you can do that. So, I mean, I don't have any sympathy for the Bills in that situation.
Well, they give up a 64-yard touchdown before that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just play normal freaking defense in the last 13 seconds, and they probably win this game. But teams will. You got Patrick Mahomes, and they have timeouts. You can't just let them gash you. You can't let them. It's just a terrible final defensive drive there for the Bills. That was absolutely horrific. So, yeah, the Bills choke. Chiefs, Bengals. Hopefully the Bengals beat them. And then Niners, Rams. And we're both Niners fans, in case anybody doesn't know. So that's why I cared a little bit more about this game. Might get a 2019 Super Bowl rematch. I mean, I'd be down for that simply because the Niners would make it. Anyway, the viewers went up from 90 to 100. Shout out to the 10 people that were watching this game and just joined the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Anything else you want to say for this this post-game stream?
No, make sure to check out Blazers Uprise Live tomorrow, and then we'll be back with another post-game show on Tuesday night.
Yep, we'll have you covered with more content. So, if you hated the football stuff today, then we will talk basketball tomorrow. We'll have picks against the spread. Then we'll get into some trade stuff. Maybe there will be new trader rumors tomorrow. It's kind of been quiet on that front the past couple of days, so not too much new to talk about. The Blazers take care of business today. They blitz the Raptors to start this game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little football reference. They blitz the Raptors to start this game up 25-4, and then stave off a Raptors comeback after leading by 34. The Raptors cut it to 4. They gained 30 points on the Blazers through some pressure defense. The Blazers get a little sloppy, but the Blazers still pull it out and end their 6-game road trip with a 4-2 record. They now come home for a 2-game back-to-back on the 25th and 26th with the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. So we'll see if they can continue this momentum into Portland. We will have you covered with the post-game shows on Tuesday and Wednesday. And, of course, as Eric said, second channel live around 3:30 to 3:45 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. That's Blazers Uprise Live. Link is in the description below. Go subscribe if you haven't already. We will take post-game space calls on the post-game streams on Tuesday and Wednesday. So if you wanted to call in and say anything tonight, save it for that. We'll look forward to talking to you then. With that being said, that's a wrap for this stream. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you in the next one. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.